8 classes, 8 decks for Heroes of Shadowverse Day 1. Shadowverse Portal just got updated, so I theorycrafted 8 decks for you to try when the expansion releases tomorrow. I'm trying to use new cards and new archetypes whenever it's possible, but my priority is for you to win on ladder. I'll try to put all the links in the description, so come back to this video to get the deck code. So without further ado, let's begin with first craft. So the star of this new archetype is Ladica, returning. So the idea is that you play her, you play a lot of Natura 1PP or 0PP cards. At 4 cards she evolves, so she loses that effect. But then you can give her a big buff with Back to Nature, which gives +X+X, X being the number of Natura cards you played this turn, along with potentially clearing a ward. I don't really think you can do 20 in a turn with Ladica, so the idea is more that you get back-to-back Ladica for 10 then 10. On top of that, you can also have Avatar of Growth, which is 2 damage when he dies, and if you play 3 trees on the Ladica turn, he will come back and deal 2 damage again. So we run all of the new supports, that's 1PP Natura cards, this guy. It's also cool because you're going to heal a lot during the Ladica turn. There's also this that's going to heal for 2. Lily is still pretty solid, should be important in the combo-oriented metagame. And the small idea of this deck is to run the Queen's Favor. If you play 2 other cards, you can tutor directly Ladica, which is your highest cards follower, and one of your 1PP cards. It's a bit slow, but you're going to need 2 Ladicas for this game plan, so I think having a tutor for it is really cool. If it ends up not working, the deck I recommend is this Castle Philly deck, which got a 2nd place at JCG, and we actually got Briar Maiden, which is super cool for fairy decks, and also is fusible for a Great Fairy Dragon, so you now have a huge incentive to play 3 of them. We lost Primaria, so it's not really possible to OTK with just a castle deck, but with Philly, it should be enough to put on a lot of pressure on turn 6 and then win on turn 7. Next up we have Swordcraft, and of course we're going to play Bayleon, since all of the sword support is based around it. So to get the maximum out of Luminous Blade, we want to run a lot of cheap cards that will leave play easily, so that we quickly hit these 20 allied cards. So of course we're going to run all of the basic new Natura supports, Fox Spearman, Natura and Peace, etc. We have Gero Lul. I think it's basically the 1PP that gives the most value for a sword deck. You can play it, then play Bayleon, it's going to self-evolve and you can trade the Bane into one of the ward followers. Also included 1 copy of Case Cracked, since we are so based on storm damage. When you guys 2 allied cards, you can potentially come back, it can be a cut. And Dashing Duelist is a bit of a staple in sword decks. I'm not super hot on this deck, I think it's a bit hard to support Bayleon with the current Swordcraft pool, but we have to see. Next up for Rune we have Machina Spell Boost, with Tetra coming back. So the core idea of the deck is that whenever you play 3 cards and Tetra is evolved on the field, you can get the Azure Blast, and Azure Blast is 2 damage to a random enemy 4 times. So the idea is that you play Tech Wizard with the Enhance 5, you reduce the cost of all of your cards, then you can do a big Tetra turn where you get the Azure Blast, and after that you can evolve Amaryllis to have the +1 damage on all of your spells. And so now Azure Blast would be 15 damage to the leader if you made sure that you clear the board and they have no follower that can take the hit. That's why we sound it with Rosie, which can banish a follower. You're going to play a lot of recovery, so you're going to reduce her cost. We also have Ginger in the deck. It's not hard to reduce her and she can copy a Tetra for another spell. And the last idea of the list is to have air in the deck, mainly for the leader shield effect. You can also have a plan where you play Tetra on turn 6, then you reanimate Tetra on turn 7 with air, and you play 2 of Tetra's spell for 16 damage. As you see, this deck doesn't exactly do 20 damage, so we're going to rely on having some early damage taking or drawing Amaryllis. But we remember that Machina Rune was still pretty oppressive at the time, even if it didn't have any 20 OTK. So we'll have to see. I included Miser for the potential tempo on turn 1 and damage later in the game, but you can probably cut him for Technolord, as it will synergize a bit more with Tetra and Ginger. Next for Dragoncraft, we got Valdain, so the deck is pretty much self-built, we get a lot of support for Valdain. For those who didn't see, the Valdain token doesn't deal damage now, it reduces the leader's maximum defense. So it's very hard to play around it, unless you're playing even with the Malone special tech. And if you play the North World Tree, Valdain gains Storm, you got this guy that also gains Storm on Enhance 6. So you just romp with Oracle and with Gina, you set up Valdain, you play trees, and you wait. And you got this very good card, Big Ward, clears followers, lets you play trees for free. so you can just sit and wait until Valdain effect puts the opponent in range. And of course, because we're going to play a lot of Storm Followers and have a lot of PP anyway, I think the one-off case cracked makes sense here. You could include this little guy for the 3 damage. I think it's a bit slow, but maybe if the meta is a bit too aggressive, you can make room for it. But I think the deck is so much self-built, we're going to have a fixed 40 cards list within the next 3 days. So Shadowcraft is actually pretty interesting. At first I was not really impressed with Ania and Nicola. I thought, yeah, it's pretty defensive, it's pretty slow. But there's actually something very interesting in this expansion, it's Lubelle. So with Necromancy 10, you summon 3 of her 2/1 token, and if you evolve, you summon a 4th token and you give Storm to all of your followers. So that would be 5 plus 4 times 2, so 13 damage. But after you played 1 Lubelle, you already consume 20 Shadow, so you can play Atem, deal the 7 last damage, so that's 20 damage now, and in the event that you didn't really kill or that this was delayed, Atem will recover 4 play points and evolve, and give you back 10 shadows. So you're like, but okay, but how do I make 20 shadow? It's super slow. But the thing is that we don't really have to, because we have Mint. And Mint with the leader effect, when you perform Necromancy, you'll regain the same number of shadow. So you only need to make 10 shadows and have Mint. And also, Mint is guaranteed to tutor Lubelle, so consistent game plan once again. And so now we just need to make 10 shadows. And for that, I think the Machina engine is actually pretty cool. You have Shard Goal that's going to tutor exactly Ainea and Nicola. Most of the other Machina cards for Shadow are pretty defensive. We got this that's destroy an enemy follower. We got this Rush Bane. Friends Anywhere is going to be our way to recover evolution points so that we can Lubelle in the late game. And on top of that, once we have the 20 shadows consumed, we also have access to Viscaria. She was played a bit in Helio Shadow, but I think she really now has a good way to activate her full effect. Is this going to be better than Helio Shadow? I'm not sure. Is this really going to be enough to resolve Joy Secured? I'm not sure, but I think it's worth trying. Now we have Blood, and I think the archetype that makes the most sense for Blood is Wrath. So it's not the kind of Wrath we had with Asphalt, where you aim for an OTK. It's more of small grinding, with dealing 6 damage and healing for 6 every turn, until your opponent is finally out of healing. So you want to stall in order for the Chaotic Chimera to lose cost, and become very efficient to play. And of course we still have Diabolus Head-On, or Eeyore, for those who got the card during the Spy Family collab. We can also now play Mastema, Dark Temptress, from Resurgent Legends mini-expansion, which was a pretty good card but too defensive for the archetype, but now I think it makes sense with this more defensive kind of playstyle. Also, one combo I really like is Weapon Tamer and Fierce Disciple. So Weapon Tamer says whenever an allied follower with an original defense of 1 comes into play, you give it Rush and deal 1 damage to your leader. So when you're going to play Disciple, you're going to deal 1 damage to yourself, give her Rush and deal 1 more damage to yourself. Then you trade her, you summon the bats, and you deal 1 more damage to yourself and trade with the bats. So with just this 2-card combo, you can deal 4 damage to yourself, and potentially have Wrath active for turn 4. So pretty good. I think a lot of you are going to want to play Mono. Sadly, a lot of the support for Evolve Blood is rotating. We don't have Lunel anymore, we don't have Alice anymore. So unless we can find a perfect mix of Wrath and Evolve, I don't think that Mono is going to make it in this meta. Next we have my personal favorite craft, Heavencraft. So Sagan decided to say, okay, forget it. We just give you ways to say, destroy your amulets. Have fun. So Selena is going to give you 1 or 2 copies of Fury Reproach. That's going to deal 4 damage to the enemy leader if you destroy at least 10 amulets. And this condition matches with the condition of Angel of the Covenant. And on top of that, when you're going to transmute the angels and play them on the board, summon amulets and give them last word, heal 2, deal 2, you now have the ability to instantly destroy them, with either Fairy Reproach or these Shining Prayer cards. So Allegiance won't be that passive card anymore, where you just wait for your opponent to trade into it to deal your damage. Now you can instantly have it. And on top of that, one of the amulets that you can now reborn can actually give you a Storm, so there are potential to find 15 to 20 damage in a turn. To speedrun the condition, now we can play the Naturan trees, thanks to Naturan Peace and Desert Wanderer. I'm not really a fan of the 2PP ward that only summons 1 tree, but maybe it's more optimal than some cards we have to test. Of course we have Newskers that's going to be 2 amulets worth for 1 PP. And I think that now we run enough amulets for this to be good. Having the Rush ward can help surviving, but maybe in the end it will be a bit too bricky and we'll go back to playing Odile. We have to see. I think this is slightly better than the Unreal deck. Sadly, if you are going first, it's going to be hard to play Selena, because you also need your play points to actually play Amulets, but still, it should be a pretty fun deck. And lastly for Portal, so Artifact of course, pretty popular and got some support, and you can play it with a Resonance Core, now that we have access to U1. But I think for day one, having an easy deck to play, just curve and go face, it's just more optimal, and Machina Portal is perfect for that. And you'll also be able to play Baphomet, which pretty much takes the role of Kizrael and Synthetic Eden in this list as the top end. So in case you didn't get the lethal thanks to Gretina and Lyleth, then you can just play Baphomet and stall a turn. Also you got the return of Ilgano, it's perfect because it's a turn 1, and Machina didn't really have that. So it will be great to fill the curve. And it's just more extra damage that you can play on maybe turn 6 or 7, along with Gretina. I think it's also the one deck where you can consider playing Technolord on 9 after Baphomet, for potentially 20 split damage. Maybe in this deck you wanna consider playing Eon so that you can unboard lock. Because we lost the +2/+2 enhance spell, so board locking you is back to being a viable strategy for your opponents. And that's it. Hope that you found a list that you can enjoy for day 1. If you did, please leave a like and tell me which one in the comments. I'm leaving on the background this bonus artifact list for you if you want. I'll be streaming tomorrow on my Twitch at IshiroSV, so come join us if you want. And thank you for watching. Bye bye!